everyone, and welcome back to this module on email writing. Today, we're going to learn about sales emails. When I'm talking about sales emails, these emails are used and preferred when we are talking about increasing our sales. So here, when I'm talking about all these things, there are a few considerations that have to be kept in mind, like the subject line. Write a subject line like a real person and not on behalf of the company. Do not stuff it with marketing lingos. Make sure that it is for your sales, it should improve your sales and should not lead to the downfall of your sales. Here, when we are talking about all these things, there are a few things that have to be kept in mind, like avoiding catchy slogans, phrases, etc. Do not capitalize each letter because it makes it look inappropriate. Ask a question in the subject line wherein the answer is there in your main body. For example, introduction, wherein you're writing your name or the company's name. If you're writing your name, it should be followed by your designation and the company details, their name and the company name. So here you need to mention whom are you writing as and whom are you writing to. You need quick request and trying to connect information. So here you can also request that we would want to meet for a face-to-face conversation, or maybe you want to get over a telephonic call, etc. When we are talking about the opening lines of such emails, we have to be very careful. There are three broad categories in which we have divided these. One, the content builder. Here, when we are talking and we are trying to build a kind of connect, that is where these lines are supposed to be used. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to reach out because now you're explaining here why were you trying to reach out to them. The information sharing is happening here. Maybe you've talked to one of the colleagues who works in their company, or you've talked to a colleague who knows someone in the company and how that company and the relationship between you and the company can be beneficial. Or maybe you've seen the details online, etc. So do mention where you took the details of the company from. And we've been working on a lot on similar companies too. When you're trying to build a connect here, gauge people on common grounds, find out those common things that are the common links that are there between the two of you. Describe the problem and tell the kind of solution you are offering. The second part comes out to be a trust builder, wherein you're trying to give out your details first so that you're breaking the ice there, and thereafter you're building a kind of trust with the organizational details. For example, it says my name is XYZ, and then you have to insert another sentence to pitch yourself. You belong to which organization? What is the work of that organization? How did you get to know about this organization? And what is it that you want from them? The third one comes out to be the referral request, wherein you are trying to connect to someone else in the organization, but by mistake, you've got to another person. So I'm sorry to trouble you. Would you be so kind enough to tell me who is responsible for, and then whatever department you're looking for, maybe sales, maybe requests, etc. And you have to insert your biggest pain point here that resonates your idea with the customer. So here, when we are talking about the ideal customer, we have to insert functions like sales or recruiting and how you can connect to that person. Follow the points given below and write a strong email. When it comes to the body, these are the following pointers that have to be considered. Give enough additional context when we're talking about who we are. We have to clarify what is the problem that we are facing and what kind of solution are we looking for, or the other way around. Maybe the company is facing some problem and we are there to provide a solution for the same. We have to make sure that we are highlighting the ultra clear benefits, the USPs of our organization that your prospect can relate to. Strike a balance between being short and to the point while still delivering enough content. Here, my language would play an important role and my writing skills would come into mainframe. We have to make sure that the information that we are getting from the recipient is good enough and the reader gets to know about each detail that we are trying to convey. When we're talking about a call to action, so there are multiple mistakes that we make while writing an email. So here are a few tips that may help you avoid a few of these mistakes while you are writing closing lines for your sales email. Always include a call to action. Even if you think that your email is clear enough, whatever you're expecting them to do at the end, that should be clearly mentioned in the closing line. Do not get confused or do not confuse the recipient or the reader with too many call to actions. So if there are multiple things to be done, mention them as bullet pointers in a chronological order. Do not give a difficult call to action unless and until you have developed a good rapport. Do not ask for big investments or serious resources. So here, if you have something of the sort to be shared, prefer doing it over a telephonic or a face-to-face conversation. Again, these messages are being recorded. It's a written communication. So you have to be very careful with what kind of information you're asking, seeking, or informing. Next, when we are talking about the significance of, these signatures or the closures, let's read a few important pointers here. Your signature can be utilized to increase sales in the following manner. First, you have to make sure that you're including a link to a positive press article that highlights the company's accomplishments. You can talk about where the company has been, what all awards have been given to the company, and what are the prospects or the future prospects of the company. Include the link to a recent webinar your company gave wherein you were appreciated for the same and you came into limelight. Linking a positive or a relevant case study and adding a massive amount of credibility. Credibility and trust is something that's difficult to build. So all these credentials have to be given for the same. You can also include a YouTube link about bloggers talking about your company or people in general from your organization giving reviews about the company itself. When we're talking about the types of emails, there are multiple types of sales emails. They're broadly 10 in number, which are as follows. Cold outreach sales emails, prospecting sales emails, pitch emails, introduction, referral sales emails, appointment request sales emails, follow-up sales emails, reminder sales emails, thank you sales emails, post-transaction sales emails, check-in, that is the long-term follow-up sales emails. When we are talking about these categories, let's further dwell deeper to understand what each category has to say. So talking about the first one, let's see what cold outreach sales email have to talk about. These are one of the most common types of sales emails when it comes to emails. And cold sales emails can be refreshingly human and effective to opening a line of communication. Why? Because here the person directly comes in contact with the other party. An example here is your first name followed by I am your company's name. We work with organizations like reputed brands have to be mentioned here, or one sentence pitch wherein you can mention either about a recent webinar or recent details or YouTube links about your organization that are going to bring in a positive effect in the entire conversation. Next comes out to be my prospecting sales email. So a prospecting sales email is delivered to a warm lead once we have a reasonable degree of certainty. We know that the other party is going to be responding in a positive fashion and they'd be a good fit to become a customer of our product. Here is the most effective prospective sales email template. The first name of the person. I've been following along with all of your growth at name of the company these past couple of years, and I wanted to see if you'd be up for a quick chatting about how the name of the company has been helping similar brands like famous company names to be included here. And thereafter, you have to include a pitch which breaks the ice and brings the customer onto the table. Next, we're going to talk about the pitch emails, wherein pitch emails means you wish to be coming to very directly on the table. You strongly believe that your product or your service has to be very helpful to the prospective client and that they'll get a massive return on their investment if they are willing to invest. So it's your job to make sure that they come on board, and it's your job to make sure that this written communication acts as an effective medium to bring the customer right to your doorstep. An example of a pitch email here is we're writing the name, that is the introduction opening. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to reach out to you because, and then you explain the reason. You've got to tell them that from where did you get their contact information, and how do you can these people relate to your organization or you. You may have talked to a colleague, you got to know about this company, or you saw the company online, or maybe you read it in an advertisement, etc. The name of the company has to be mentioned, and what you're coming up with has to be mentioned. So here they say company XYZ has a new tool that will help the organization's name to act more efficiently and effectively. So here you're again pitching yourself in the solution domain, wherein you're talking about the solution that the company or the tool that you have is going to provide. I know that our product will be able to help the company, and you are going to talk about all the USPs here, all its benefits here in less than 3 months, like we've already seen with, and you're going to talk about famous customers here. Again, here, if you see, you're trying to build a kind of trust. This trust should not be broken easily. So you have to give valid examples here, and relevant reasoning has to be mentioned. The closure here states, are you available for a quick call at, mention the time and date very clearly. Do not mix it up with the main body. Please mention it separately so that it gives a distinct identity. Your name, and it has to be followed by the company or the organizational details along with your contact information. So here is how you have to write a great pitch email. When we are talking about the introduction of sales emails, we have to make sure that before we send an introduction email, the following pointers have to be kept in mind. So when we are not sure who the right decision maker is at the target audience, that is where we are supposed to mention at the end, that is our call to action, that it would be great if I could connect to someone in your organization. So skip additional layers of research and jump straight to sending a sales email to the closest fit person. Ask for an internal referral to the person who's most well suited to your field and is responding to your emails. Here in an organization, at times it becomes difficult to reach out to the correct person, but there are people who are willing to help. So you can always send them emails to ask. Do not try sending them excessive emails. Keep your body short and ask only relevant information. Here's an example for introduction email. Hey, the first name. My name is so and so. Let's assume it to be ABC. And I, with my company XYZ, define what the company is all about. We work with organizations like, again, organizations of repute have to be mentioned here, and your sales pitch thereafter has to be made. Could you direct me to the right person to talk to about this at your company, the name of the company, obviously, so that we can explore if this would be something valuable for your sales team? Again, you are requesting for the number. In your call to action, in the closure, you're supposed to mention what all details do you need. It would be great if I could connect to someone, and you mention your email address, you mention your phone number, maybe fax details, etc. Your complete name has to be there, followed by organizational details and even your contact number again. When we are talking about appointment request sales emails, here you have to learn a few things. Number one, it is relatively straightforward. You're not coaxing, you're not adding layers to it. You need to reach out and get an appointment scheduled for further qualifying them your product or telling them or informing them about your product. Try to get your prospect on the phone at a specific time and date. You have to make sure that this is not just a written communication. The written communication ends where you have fixed a particular date and time. Thereafter, these things have to be carried out over face to face or telephonic conversations. When you make your call to action, be very specific, be direct and clear. You stand at a much higher chance of getting an equally clear response if you have made yourself absolutely clear here. Here's an example. Hey, the first name. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to reach out because you're directly coming to the point here. You're not, moving around and explaining things. And here you have to explain how did you get to know about them, what information do you have related to them, and again, we are talking about the basics. Your company, the name, has a new platform that will help your team at your organization in the following ways. Again, we're talking about the benefits, we're talking about the USPs, etc. I would love to explore your company. Here, you're specifically talking about in terms of business. Are you available for a quick call around? Again, the date and time have to be mentioned. If you see here and explore carefully, the benefits of the USPs are in bullet pointers. Why not in paragraph? Because it becomes difficult to read bulky paragraphs. You have to keep your statements short and crisp. You have to make sure that before you close, you're reading, proofreading, and editing the entire document. The closure should be perfect with your full name, organizational details, contact information. With this, let's bring this session to a pause here. We'll be right back with more such interesting details. Thank you so much.